Hi, I'm Craig, Film Enjoyer, and this week we've got three movies. Two are first-time watches, and the third was a film that I promised myself I would never ever watch for a second time. So excited to find out which one that is, guys.
Breaking personal boundaries. That's us. Oh, it's my turn. I'm Dave Gray, and this week I learned I can't keep a list in my head for more than 3 seconds.
I'm Tyler Hosley, and your dick is so ugly.
Who's that
I mean, true, but you know.
The listeners. It's the listeners.
That's just
all of us.
that could be towards anybody.
Not towards me. Wouldn't.
I'm Kevin Matthews, Scottish film fan living in England, and this week I will probably upset some people with my opinions. Bloody opinions. I apologize.
Okay, but now say something nice about my penis. Tyler's upset me.
That is probably okay for an Englishman's.
Thanks, I'll take it.
Nice. And this is the Raiders of the Podcast.
Yay! Yay!
So I got to the cinema this week because I wanted to get my fill of new horror. So this is the part where Tyler likes me this week, because although I and many other people would never like this film as much as Tyler, I really enjoyed him.
Yay.
I took a chance on it, and like at first I was thinking I really enjoyed it, but I sort of tempered my my thinking after things settled down. I was like, right, let's not get carried away. It's still a film that Tyler loves, so you can't go mad about it, because that would just, that way lies insanity. But I thought it was really good. I didn't even, Tyler, you know how people were saying you'll love this, and they were on about what they said was like the hyper editing and the sort of flashy visuals and that. I thought it looked visually great, but to me, like, I didn't feel like I was watching something that was bombarding me with hyper editing. Do you know what I mean?
No, it wasn't like it wasn't like throughout the whole movie, like where people were telling me. You know what I mean? Like I was getting like, this is going to be a full 90-minute music video. It's got editing from a music video in there, but it's not 90 minutes. You know, it's
so that was a relief. And then it's not, in some ways it's quite, I mean, it's very easy to see where it's going, but there are also ways in which it still sort of kept me on my toes, as to how things were going to play out. And I like that, because it does get just quite weird and wacky. But because it's a film about a young guy who's, getting the chance to go with this football player mentor legend who may be retiring, it kind of feels more believable that, okay, you're putting up with some weird shit because this just happens when you can do what you want. Or, when you have all these fans who will enable anything for you, or you'll have this management team who can cater to your every whim, and these people want to train you up to your top level and offer you everything you've ever wanted if you'll sign a contract with them. It felt like that was feeding into everything, and I thought it was really good. I'm not a big fan of Tarek Withers, who plays the lead, because he's just quite I think he's a bit bland, but he's fine for this role, and he has to be kind of, just, I would say, slightly dazed for a lot of it. Marlon Wayans is really good. I thought he was actually great in the main role. Like, I believed him. He still looks about as young as he was in the earlier scary movies. Like, he is, he's aging way better than I am. Julia Fox has a supporting role, and she plays a character a bit like an unhinged Lady Gaga type, which I enjoyed. Tim Heidecker's in there. Jim Jeffries has a small supporting role, and he was quite good as well. So, yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. I'm not sure if it's one I would rush to recommend to lots of other people. Because it is weird when I see a film that Tyler likes so much, and I'm like, yeah, I really like that. Like, I messaged Tyler, I was like, don't tell anyone else yet. I really liked him, just so he would know someone else is out there already. But unfortunately, I didn't love Good Boy. I went to see it, the canine centric horror movie hit of the year. I just it didn't work for me. I love the dog. The dog is wonderful, and I would adopt the dog in a heartbeat. So let's not come at me for being some kind of dog hater. But just the film
Pet
itself,
person.
it has a great idea at the heart of it. Obviously, kind of ghost movie from the point of view of a dog, but then bizarrely, I don't think it really does enough with that idea. And then I was thinking about afterwards, I was like, yeah, well, is that earlier this year? Like, we actually had a ghost movie from the point of view of the ghost or this spirit in the house. I was like, so yeah, maybe from the point of view of a dog isn't as unique nowadays as it might have once seemed, especially when it's actually quite visually, I would say, standard for this kind of thing. There are some good creepy moments. Atmosphere is there, but the actual slight story going through it, I don't think the main human character acts. And yeah, I was just a bit disappointed. And it's only, I think it's just over 70 minutes. So it's 70 minutes, and that still feels like it's a bit too long because there wasn't quite enough done with that good idea. I can't recall if you guys have seen Good Boy yet. I know it's a new one.
Not yet.
No, it not. I'm waiting until it hits Shutter in November.
Okay. So yeah, so many other people really liked it. I don't know. You guys may land that way. I know. I mean, Tyler's just going to be a sucker for horror movie with a dog as the lead guy. I mean, the dog's amazing. The dog is better than many of the actors that Tyler makes us watch on a weekly basis. And then to keep rolling along on that train of getting Dave say to me, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. I watched The Conjuring Last Rites. Yay! Because I had to, because I'm a completist. It's look, there are some decent little scares in this for a standard like popcorn horror. I think it's all right in that regard. But obviously, like the more these films build the Warrens up as like super exorcists, the more it becomes harder to just view them as harmless popcorn horrors, and you keep remembering how bad the Warrens were, and how like just they were just awful people. And this, this might seem like the worst for making them into the superheroes. And then it was bordering on parody at times when Ed Warren is saying to people, that's our museum. Every possession in there is possessed or haunted or demonic. Don't touch anything. I'm pretty sure he said that at least 3 times. Once is enough to make the point. Also, I just, I made a gag on social media. I love the fact that everything with the Warrens is demons. I mean, if the postman rang their doorbell and didn't think they were in and left after a minute, they'd be like, demons. If anything
That's
went
not
wrong in their
true.
house, I'm sure it would be demons.
When Ed knocked up his grooming his groomed minor sex slave, he blamed, African Americans for that one.
Right, okay.
So it's either demons or racism, Kevin, and they're not going to
Okay.
make Ed a racist like they should. So come on.
Or did he suspect all African Americans were possessed by demons? I put that to you, Dave.
That could, you know what? That you could have something there.
Yeah.
You could be right.
And then moving off the horror train, I had to mention that I finally watched Animals, which I believe I recommended to Craig after I'd seen it. It was on Mubi.
You did?
And as a main role for Alia Shawkat, who I think we're all pretty big fans of in general. She's really good at it. Holiday Granger is the other main actress, and the two are kind of firm friends. Granger plays someone who says she's a writer and wants to have that writer life, but isn't doing much writing. And Shawkat is she's kind of defined for the most part by her willingness to keep partying for as many years as they can and just enjoy every moment of life. Things change in their friendship because of certain people, and you're watching that play out. I really like this. I think it was a good exploration of how friendships change when people change their their aims, or they're trying to make other changes in their life that creates an imbalance. And also just there's a point in the movie where someone is discussing literal animals and the sort of priorities of their needs. I think it's looking at that as well, and how that can vary from human to human, depending on what people are going through. But it's just great, and if you like Shawkat, as we all tend to do, she's really good at it. But Granger was brilliant as well. So I don't think I was too familiar with her, and really liked it. And that's me.
So I went to the theater and I saw the 20th anniversary screening of The Devil's Rejects. I mean, you guys already know my thoughts on the movie, so it's one of my absolute favorites. But I did think it was funny that I actually got to see it in the same exact theater that I saw it in 20 years ago. I thought that was awesome. But that was really cool. And besides that, I didn't really watch much. I did watch Leprechaun Returns, which is actually really fun. It's a direct sequel to the first one.
Yeah, it's just a good one.
Yeah, it follows Jennifer Aniston's daughter going back to the house from the original. It also brings back the dude that played Ozzy, which he's actually really good in this too. But they pulled an H2O and just totally ignored everything that came after. It's solid. It's like really solid. Like I saw that it was like a Sci-Fi Channel sequel. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be awful. But no, it's actually super solid stuff. The kills are really cool. The dude that plays the Leprechaun is actually just as good as Warwick Davis, if not better. Like he was really good. This dude, I forgot his name. I really wish I would have wrote down his name, but he's really good as the Leprechaun. I don't think it's as good as Leprechaun in the Hood or even Back to the Hood. I fucking love those movies, but it's definitely one of the better Leprechaun sequels. So yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's fun, and it doesn't have, and it unfortunately doesn't have the girl from 2 in there, who is just absolutely gorgeous. She's a terrible actress, but she's fucking gorgeous. That girl from 2. I don't know her name either, but my god, terrible
I know
actress,
you
but really
mean.
hot. Yes, terrible actress, but she's so hot. But yeah, it's good. If you like Leprechaun, I can't imagine you not liking this, unless you have some really strong attachment to Warwick Davis playing the Leprechaun. But it's good stuff.
No,
And
fuck Warwick Davis.
yeah, I love him as Leprechaun, but I don't really care if he played him again or not. Any actor that's decent enough could play him. At least it wasn't the dude that played him in what was that, Origins, where it was like a monster. I can't remember. I've only seen that with the one time, but it was a
Didn't a
wrestler.
wrestler play him? Yeah.
Yes, it was a wrestler in like a suit, but that looked like a Descent like rip off. But yeah, it's good. But that's me.
I watched quite a bit this week. I started. No, I'm gonna give them in descending order of how much I enjoyed them. I watched People Under the Stairs, which is probably my favorite Wes Craven movie. Judge me all you want. I don't care. I just think Everett McGill and Wendy Roby are absolutely fantastic as the antagonists in that. It's got a, young Ving Rhames for a bit. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it quite a bit. And I think Brandon Adams' Fool is a really solid and compelling young lead. I watched Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight. It's Demon Knight. Who the fuck doesn't love Demon Knight? We covered it on an episode forever ago. You should go listen to that. I watched Night of the Reaper, which is a slasher film from just this year. It's set in the 80s, and I actually really like a lot of the things they do. I think the first 2/3 are solid. I like how it handles being set in a time period without being as obnoxious as possible about it, like most 1980s set films are, where everybody looks like they walked out of a fucking Madonna video, and they spend all the budget on shitty needle drops. It doesn't do that. It handles it really well. The cast does decently enough. The problem is it kind of all falls apart the third act. It's still fine. It's not bad, but you're going to get a lot of been there, done that with what it does, and it's a bit of a letdown. Still, not terrible. I saw Spree, the found footage black comedy about social media obsessed rideshare driver played by Joe Keery from Stranger Things, who tries to become a big live streamer by murdering passengers. It's fine. I don't think it sticks the landing either, but Keery gives a really good performance that just can't gloss over how shallow the movie is overall. Also, Sashir Zamata, who plays a comedian, does as well as anybody could with the role. The problem is it's just none of it is well written, and it kind of hurts it in the end, especially when it really starts to like bang home its points and it just kind of fails. I watched House on Eden, which just sucked. Like it's a found footage horror film, and you've seen found footage horror films, and you'll get more enjoyment watching fucking any of them. This was made by Chris Collins, who's better known as Call Me Chris. She's a social media person from Canada, and she's a terrible writer, actor, and director. There's no reason to watch this. Everyone in it is atrocious. It is just it does the one thing that no movie should do, and that's be fucking boring, and it is really fucking boring. I get it. You watched better fucking found footage movies and thought it was easy, so you just copied them identically but incompetently. It sucks, and everyone involved should like just go back to working retail because you are not cut out for this fucking job. Quit now, because it's just fucking pathetic. It's just ass. And there should be punishment for being this incompetent. It's just watch Blair Witch or, Deadstream or Grave Encounters or Wreck or like a billion other fucking found footage movies. And the worst one I watched this week was Slender Man from 2018. I had not seen it before. I've seen it now, and I was happier before. It just sucks. The cast sucks. It's poorly made. It's also abso-fucking-lutely dull. What the fuck is it with these people making really dull-ass fucking horror movies? It's a horror movie. Make it scary. Make it interesting. Instead, I was just waiting for these kids to die, and then they just didn't do it in a way that was fun or interesting. What the fuck? and the whole thing's kind of icky in how it does leech off a real case about deeply troubled people egging themselves on to murder, but it doesn't have anything to say or do except being like, hey, we rushed out a movie with this creepypasta, yay fucking us. No, it's fucking atrocious, and it's shit. It's just shit. There's no reason to watch it. You know, I will say that the best thing in it is Javier Botet as Slindy himself. He is actually in the Rec series, which I
I
mentioned
know that
earlier.
guy.
Yeah, he
He's
was
in
also
Amigo
Dracula
as well.
Yeah, he was Dracula in the last Voyage of the Demeter. I mean, like, as a suit actor, he's a decent one. There's not many of them around these days, but he does decent stuff when he's allowed to do stuff. It's a shame that they're not making better movies that need him. You know, it is what it is. He's also Mama in Mama, so there's that. That was me.
Okay, I watched. You know what? I thought I wasn't going to have a lot to say about horror movies in October because I'm like, no, I don't really do October thing because I watch horror films all the time. Not being wanky about it, like, oh, I watch them all the time, but I watch them all the time. So I'm not really going to join in. I'm not going to like watch a load more horror films than I normally do. But I watch nothing but horror films because I watch lots of horror films anyway. So I'm in tend to just by my usual viewings. I watched the 2025 Peter Davidson starring horror movie The Home, and that was pretty shitty. I mean, Pete Davidson was, initial clue that it might be a bit shitty, but I kept reading reviews, and the reviews are pretty savage in their own way. They were like, the first 75, 80 minutes of this film are shit, but you got to go through it for the ending. And they kept telling me, go watch it, just put up with 60, 70, 80 minutes of shit, and you'll get a really gory, like incredibly violent ending. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I pushed through, and the last 10 minutes was shit as well. Lots of CGI blood, no inventive kills. It was just, it's pretty much just pure shit. If John Glover was in it, and it was nice to see him, I always enjoy him. Other than a couple of the older cast members, it's absolute garbage. Don't bother with that one. I watched VHS Halloween, which is, I would say, my third favourite in the time a bit. I at least liked every segment of the film. The ones I weren't so keen on were, if you don't include the wraparound, are the second story and the fourth story are the more serious ones. The one by Paco Plaza and the one that's become quite controversial online, many murdered children, where the series really goes like full on, like August Underground with the nastiness. I wasn't as keen on those two. The first, third, and fifth stories though were just very, very goofy and a lot of fun. Like I had a blast like the whole way through. Like the slight dips, but yeah, it's one of the better entries by far. I know Kevin wasn't quite so keen.
No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
I say I preferred it to. I know a lot of people enjoyed the last one, and I preferred this sort of the Halloween vibe. And there are elements that were a bit samey, obviously because of the Halloween connection. But yeah, generally I liked it, and I had a lot of fun with the Halloween candy story. I think that's the third one. I know some
that
people
was
really
probably my
disliked
favourite.
it. Yeah, I thought that was a blast.
It was really
probably
good
the
fun.
most fun one.
The effects were great. There's a death by Skittles, which is just probably my favorite part of the entire movie. I don't know if it was Skittles, but they had the same effect. And I thought VHS Halloween was really good. But the thing about Halloween, horror film, I don't want anything serious. I want goofy, I want silly, and that's where it really delivered. And I liked the couple of more serious segments, but the Goofy won the day for me, and I enjoyed that so much. I thought I'd watch my second or possibly first favourite in the series, which is VHS 94, where again, I think with this one, every single segment, I think it's you know what, it's my favourite. It beats VHS 2. It's just a blast. Every single segment is really, really good. But the last one, Holy Hell, which is the white supremacists planning a terrorist attack with an exploding vampire story, is absolutely fantastic. Part of me kind of would want it expanded because it's just such a smart fucking telling of a story. The way it mocks the white supremacist cult is really smart, and it's just a great fucking idea that I want to see more of. But that's I can't remember the name of the director. I'm not sure anything else, but I'm going to look that up later. I'm going to keep an eye out for whatever she does do, because that's my favourite VHS segment from all the movies. I really like that one. And one more thing, I've started the Vampire TV series. Been on the BBC for a while, and I don't pay for the BBC, so I've been waiting for it to pop up somewhere else. Now it's on Netflix. I really like it. I'm nearly through the first season. I think Jacob Addison and Sam Reed are really strong leads. Jacob Anderson, the way he plays the earlier version of his character and the character interviewed, it's a brilliant. He shows the evolution of a character so well. Is a really, really good performance, and having Louis be mixed race African American in this version of the story makes for a really interesting relationship, not just to Lestat but to the world around him as he becomes a vampire. I think it's very smart. It's nice and gory. It's really well acted and so gay. I love how like thoroughly gay it is, and it just made me like, as much as I like movie, I actually really like Tom Cruise in it. I'm sorry. Much of the element, it's obvious now that it really pushed out on the gay themes, because this one is super gay. You're a fan of this one, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah, I love the series. I can't wait for season 3.
Yeah, I'm sad that I know the actress who played, damn, I can't remember the character's name, the younger character. The adopted daughter, she goes at the end of season 1 and has to be replaced. So she's really good, but apparently the actress in season 2 is really good as well. So
yeah, the second one is really good also. But yeah, she had to go because of there was a scheduling conflict. She had to be in I don't remember what it was. I think the Avatar movie. They were like, you got to come do Avatar.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, I really like it, and he's an excellent Lestat. He is genuinely like terrifying at points, but he's also very funny and charming. He just nails the role, and I'm just decided to realise he's about the right age for James Bond. So maybe it's one for the producers to take a look at, because I know it's Australian, but
they don't have the balls for that. We can't have two Australian Bonds in
that's
60
probably
years.
True. But he's got the look, and he's got he's just got the wicked nasty charm to him. So I think he'd be really good. But yeah, like you say, they're probably going to go for fucking either Henry Cavill, which I'll cope with, or Aaron Taylor Johnson, which I will not cope with.
Don't say either of those. Don't put them fucking out there.
I'm sorry. The guy from Rebel Ridge had been suggested by some people, and I'm like, yes. I can't remember. Some Aaron Pierre. I was like, yes, like he would be fucking amazing, but it's not going to happen. Never going to happen.
Put Eddie Marzan in the role. Do it.
Eddie Marzan is a Zionist piece of shit. As much as I enjoy him as an actor, I avoid movies with him now, because I can't bear to look at him. He's such a vile human being. Sorry to get all harsh about him, but he really is a disgusting human being. So I really liked him as well. He's an excellent actor.
This week, we watched the 1978 psychological horror drama directed by Richard Attenborough. You know it. Magic, the 2016 Mexican-French horror film We Are the Flesh, and the 2022 American black comedy horror The Blackening. Hey, Craig?
Yes.
Would you like to pick a movie and tell us about it?
I sure would. I'm going to go with The Blackening, which is Dave's choice, I believe. Yeah,
yes,
it was. You said you disappointed Dave earlier, Kevin, with your The Conjuring viewing. Yes. He's going to forget about that in a minute. He's going to forget about that disappointment, because I think I mentioned this to you earlier. I had not seen The Blackening, and I avoided it since its release because I thought it was a Wayans Brothers film. I thought it was a Wayans Brothers spoof of The Conjuring.
Now,
and that came...
To be fair, you didn't disappoint me. You disappointed Tim Story, Tracy Oliver, and Dwayne Perkins. And that's a far worse group of people to disappoint.
It wasn't so much that, it's a film with black people in it. It must be by the Wayans brothers. That's not how I got there. I promise. It's just I think they made a film called. They did a 50 Shades of Grey spoof called 50 Shades of Black.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they were talking about. I read an interview where they were talking about doing a spoof of Blumhouse flicks. So I put two and two together and came up with an unrecognisable number. And I really did think that this was a Wayans Brothers parody of The Conjuring, and I was not keen. It is not that. It is not that. It is a pretty excellent horror comedy. I really, really enjoyed it. That mostly for the cast. The cast are all fucking fantastic. Individually, all really good. But they all have such fantastic chemistry with each other, with everyone. Everyone has fantastic chemistry with everybody else. To the point where it is not very often where I'm waiting for 100% of the cast to survive. Like, there isn't a member of the cast I'd be like, okay, I don't mind if they die. I didn't even gore or all the stuff that comes with the cast being murdered left, right, and centre. I wanted them to make it, like, quite desperately. They all had to live. Well, maybe apart from one, but we'll get to that. I was really into the cast. I thought it had great production. I like the costumes. I think all the costumes really benefit the characters, set them up. I thought the props were really good. That game prop is whoa. It is incredibly harsh, but it's a brilliant design. It works perfectly within the confines of the film. It's really, really good. I thought it was very, very funny. There were so many great lines in it. There's the questions they have to answer the first time they play were really funny. The Aunt Viv, Dark Aunt Viv, the Friends joke. Then there was a murder that involves somebody's weed coming off. It's really well written, funny. Legit suspenseful at points as well. Like there's a scene where a basement door just swings open and all you see is this black void, and it really got under my skin. Like, I liked pretty much everything about it. I thought it was very funny. I thought it had my issue with it. My only slight is the reveal, and it's not so much the reveal, and it's not so much the reveal thematically. Like, I like the idea of these characters. What sets up these events being this kind of this discussion of blackness and taking away, black points from people, taking away people's black card, discussing, how certain beliefs and behaviors make someone more or less black. It's really interesting, but I don't want to give anything away, but the character who turns out to be the villain does so because conversation that leads to one bad night in his life. That's all this emotion. And I found that a little bit cheap. I wanted it to be brought around in the same way, but not just be one bad night. To be something a bit deeper. To send this character off on a bad path, if you know what I mean. You know, set it up with something a little bit deeper. And I think it does try to do that. You know, he has. There's a scene where he reveals his beliefs, which kind of shows you the path that he has been on all these years. So you can kind of extrapolate that from the ending. He got sent off on this path, but they also have it be this one bad night where something bad happens, and I feel like it's kind of. It just felt like a bit of a cop out. It seemed like they wanted to put the smart idea in, which they do, but they also wanted to put a simple idea in for simpletons to get. And I just felt a little bit insulted by that. It was just. I mean, it didn't make much of a difference overall. I just think that the reveal would have hit better if it wasn't trying to hold our hand with this kind of simplistic element. But otherwise, I love the cast. I love the scripts. I thought it looked great. I just had a really, really, really good time, and I would definitely watch a sequel. And it'll probably be the only time I've say All Lives Matter and absolutely just pissed myself laughing. It's really, really funny, and anyone who's listening, it's a blast. And I'm sorry that I thought the Wayans brothers were involved. Apologies.
I'm annoyed that you thought that would upset and disappoint Dave, because you have since made up for your error. Whereas I'll disappoint Dave because I think I'm the one of us that liked this the least. Which isn't to say I disliked or hated it at all. But I don't know, I just like I don't love it. I think it's quite fun. I love a lot of the gags. The ones you mentioned, Craig, with the questions from the game are particularly funny and sharp, and there's a lot of good laughs here. Even the very end moments of the film are just like superb. But for me, I think this it is trying to be a mix of the the horror movie stuff and the laughs, and it doesn't really deliver anything that feels as tense or horror movie fun after that opening sequence. So that was disappointing, particularly when you get to the finale and you've got to listen to the backstory and the motivation for the character, and that's okay. I didn't have as much of a problem with that as you did, Craig, because I think with these things it can often be the slightest thing that's just blown up out of proportion, particularly in some slasher comedies, to give them motivation for a killing spree.
Yeah.
But it did, things have to stop for that all to be discussed and explained. There's still some laughs in the scene and the interactions, but they generally wind down. I just don't think it keeps enough momentum going quite to the very end. And as I say, it doesn't have the horror movie fun for the rest of the film, which I wouldn't have minded so much if that opener hadn't been such a good blend. That had the laughs and had the horror movie fun. Particularly is it Scary Movie 2, I think is a reference that I mentioned. That's fun. I can't remember if they do or if I just imagine them looking at the camera when they go on about that. It's a good gag anyway, and there are other good gags, and then we get a kind of standard horror movie opener, which I enjoyed. So I didn't want to rain on anyone's parade, and I knew that most of us seem to really enjoy this. I find enough here to enjoy. I just I don't really enjoy it. But it's still better than what Craig envisioned in his mind when he thought it was a Wayne's brother. So, which would I totally see how that would happen, because they would call it the Blackening.
They definitely would.
Yeah, but there you go. It's a good one. It's a fun one. I think there are quite a few people who will get a lot more out of it than I did. But I still liked it. I just feel like I've slightly disappointed Daddy Dave.
Yeah, I love The Blackening. It's one of the best horror comedies I've seen in a good minute. The humor is genuinely funny. The script truly understands how to satirize the cliche African American tropes and stereotypes in horror. Like, I kind of hate when this is compared to Scary Movie, because for me, it's like not that level of parody. And that's not a knock on Scary Movie, because I love the Wayans brothers Scary Movies. 1 and 2 are great. The Zucker brother ones suck, but I love the Wayans ones. It's smart and well written, and to go along with the comedy, it actually has a good slasher setup and a great setting. I also really love that board game design. That is fucking awesome. The cast is excellent. I love this cast, all of them. Grace Byers, Jermaine Fowler, Ex Mayo, Melvin Gregg, Dwayne Perkins, all of them great. And I love that almost every character has their time in the spotlight, which is pretty rare for an ensemble. Great chemistry too, as Craig said. Tim Story is one of those filmmakers that I kind of go back and forth on. Like, I love his Fantastic Four movies. Barbershop is great, and I really liked his Shaft sequel a lot, but those fucking ride along movies, man. I mean, those are just so fucking awful. But I seem to enjoy his work more than I dislike. So, but yeah, this is great stuff. I saw it theatrically, and I've seen it a couple times since, and it's just as funny and rewatch. It's really good. And like I said, one of the best horror comedies I've seen in quite some time. Just, yeah, I love this one.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the few actually great horror comedies. And I like quite a few horror comedies, but I would put this up in the top echelon with, let's say, Tremors and Shaun of the Dead. And then, there's some great secondary tiers, but this is a top 3 for me, easily. The cast is great. They all work really well together. I really like how they're written, because there is a camaraderie between them, which you don't get in, well, so many other not just horror comedies, but comedies in general. These are characters that know each other, and they know how to play off each other. And it's rare to see that, despite so many movies like built around that premise. The mask, the killer's mask, man, that is just so awful, but it's pretty perfect. Yeah, sure. Some of it could be a little bit handled a bit better. It could be a bit scarier, but generally it handles it all deftly, gave it thought. They know what they're talking about, and they're very purposeful and targeted with what they're doing. And I love that. I also love that it doesn't need to stop and explain everything to the not African Americans watching, which is often, especially in horror movies, an issue where they got to stop and they've got to explain why this is happening, instead of just, expecting the audience to know or be able to find out themselves. That's always worth bonus points for me. And this one gets it for that. I said it. I think it's great. The fact that there's no sequel, I think it's a shame, because I would put this over a lot of other satires, especially the past 10 years or so. This is head and shoulders above most of them. The screenplay, as I said before, is by Tracy Oliver and Dwayne Perkins. Dwayne Perkins is actually in the film playing Dwayne, and Tracy Oliver starred in a web series called The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. She was a writer on the ABC Aliens Next Door show Neighbors, and she co-wrote I think The Last Barber Shop and both the Girls Trips movies. Like, she's got some solid stuff in her background. Tim's story is Tim's story. He's been around forever, and his filmography is a bit of a mixed bag, but I generally enjoy it. And the cast is all filled with folks who mostly have decent comedy background. I think at least half of them are comedians themselves, and the other half were in comedies before, and were very competent in them. A lot of times you see comedies, especially smaller budget comedies, especially smaller budget genre comedies, where they just do not bother getting a cast that is capable. But this one has a very strong one that carries it really well. I enjoy this movie. I would straight up say I love this movie. This was my favorite this week. I say it without, hesitation or reservation, by like a good margin. Not that I didn't enjoy the others, at least in ways. You got to put that caveat on for what I'm about to talk about next. But yeah, I think this is fantastic, and the fact that there hasn't been a sequel yet, I think is a bit. That's on us as an audience. We should have stepped up and embraced this a bit more. I know it made a profit. It did okay, but it should have done better than it did. It should have. Full stop. You should go see it if you haven't. I'm gonna follow that with Tyler's pick, We Are the Flesh, which is a Mexican horror movie. Trying to think about how exactly we should describe this one. So something has happened out in the world, forcing a pair of siblings to forage in the ruins of Mexico. I think it's Mexico City, until they come across Mariano, a man who offers them food and safety if they help him turn an abandoned building into a weird plywood and cardboard cave cocoon. And then the sexy time starts and does not end until the credits roll. Oh, We Are the Flesh. I have mixed feelings about We Are the Flesh. I think in terms of what's in it, like it's wonderfully shot. And I think the cast does a really strong job with what they're given. No Alvarez, who plays Mariano, is giving a hell of a performance. I don't know exactly how to describe it, because it is a truly unique character in a truly unique in a truly unique film. I think Maria Evoli, who is the girl Fauna, is really good. Diego Gamiela as Lucio is good. The problem is it doesn't really. It's an art film in search of a message, and I ultimately feel this is the problem. There's some strong imagery. The cinematography is absolutely fantastic, and it's filmed by, I'm going to butcher this name, and I feel absolutely terrible for doing it. But there's a whole bunch of accent marks and stuff, and we all know I am terrible. I can't even say most honky names properly. Yolotl Alvarado, I am so sorry in advance, who is a cinematographer and director from Mexico, who has a pretty strong filmography. I know he was camera crew for Miss Bala. He was cinematographer and I think co-director on White Knight, which if you haven't seen is a really solid documentary about the Chicolo volcano eruption in I think 82. It buried an indigenous town. He shot a bunch of shorts. The guy has a hell of an eye and should probably have a better career. He's directed a couple shorts also that are worth looking out. But I think the problem is very much in the screenplay, which is written by director Emiliano Minter, where it's aggressively confrontational, but it's forgettable. There's no like satirical purpose. It's not really saying anything. It's just here's some extreme and that's it. Is it a comment on modern life in Mexico? I guess maybe, but I don't think there's that much cannibalism going on or incest. The use of color I think is fantastic. Like this, I feel like there could be something absolutely fantastic in this. If we take these pieces and like put it in a better, more focused screenplay, we could have something really good. But instead, this is kind of like, have you guys seen We Are What We Are?
Yeah.
Another
Yes.
Mexican film. It came out around this. I guess it came out maybe about 2 or 3 years earlier. It's actually a standalone sequel to Guillermo del Toro's Cronos. Anyway, they touch on a lot of the same things, but We Are What We Are has a purpose and a drive and is a lot more affecting and memorable because of that. And that's ultimately the problem here. There's just, and we watch a lot of movies like this over the years where it's a lot of, look at this. It's like nothing. It's a dick. And so fucking what? I mean, okay, it's a close-up of a dick. It's 8 feet of limp. Why? So fucking what? There's some breasts. Great. Now what? There's a random orgy that I don't know what the fuck's going on. I stopped knowing what the fuck was going on 5 minutes ago, but it's still going on. What are you fucking saying? You're saying nothing. You just want me to be offended, but I'm not offended. Like, you need to say something for me to be offended, except here's a naked picture. Ooh, I'm not, maybe if it was like 1950, I'd be fucking scandalized. Instead, I'm kind of bored. Be extreme, but do something. Don't make me poke you with a stick. I just kind of want to take it out back and poke it with a stick until it does something. That's it. I mean, it's a missed opportunity. And I think that's just a shame.
Yeah, if you guessed that this film with the cannibalism and the necrophilia and the incest was my never again film this week, then yeah, you were correct. Obviously, big whoop. I'm not giving out prizes. Obviously, this is the film I'd seen before that I did not want to watch ever again. But I did watch it again, and I kind of loved the first half of this film. I think the first half of this film is kind of perfect in its own kind of depraved way. There's so much I enjoyed. Like the cast are fantastic, and what was his name? Noe Hernandez is absolutely incredible in this. It is one of the most all in committed feral performances I've ever seen in my life. I whatever they paid him is not enough. I've never seen someone more all in. I was really impressed by him. I love the look of the film. Like whenever you see little shots of the outside, it's got this kind of cold Kiyoshi Kurosawa look to it. Everything is very stark, and then every time you're inside this kind of bizarre cardboard womb, it turns into this kind of Gaspar Noé doing Hieronymus Bosch kind of madness. It's like visually, it's something else. I love the score. You've got this kind of sparse, throbbing electronic score, and then when there's actual music in it, it does that kind of thing that David Lynch does so well. He brings in quite not classical music, as in he brings in quite classic kind of tunes, but just don't gel with what's going on screen, and just they're so opposed to it that they make it kind of more horrifying. The use of music in this reminds me of Dean Stockwell singing Blue Velvet in. Is it Blue Velvet? He sings in Blue Velvet. No, he sings a different song, doesn't he? But
In Dreams.
Yes, yeah. So the music choice in this kind of they become something else by being in this like depraved film. Like there's so much really like completely in, and then it reaches this. It's such a bizarre thing. It reaches a incest that is so beautifully put together. I'm sorry, it is. Film can do. It puts sounds and images together to make depravity beautiful. I don't know how it does it, but this whole scene is like with, what would you call it? With a heat lens, like a predator lens. It's like watching two kind of classic 90s shoegaze album covers. Fuck. It just looks absolutely beautiful. And you ask yourself, is it showing something beautiful? And you can ask yourself some questions due to, the situation these people find themselves in. Maybe they are beautiful. I don't know, but they certainly make it look look beautiful. And then as it comes to a literal climax, the film's best character kind of takes a bow and is removed from the room, accompanied by, I think it's that music that the military use for funeral heroic pomp, this pomp music. It's such a great little punchline to everything that's come before. But I was just sad that this film had to continue. If this film ended at the 40-minute mark, it would be kind of perfect. I would love it, but it does keep going. And what happens is the rebirth metaphor, which has been in the film since early on. I obviously I like metaphor in horror films. It's a basic thing that is used in many horror films. But the problem with this is this stops becoming a film but uses metaphor and becomes completely and totally a metaphor. Primarily, it's just the characters are not characters anymore. Everything is cardboard now because it's not real. It is just a metaphor playing out, and any connection I had to the characters or the story was just snuffed out, and it was just watching someone just bang on a drum for the last 40 minutes. And I just there's still stuff I enjoyed. There's a scene is a really like kind of stomach churning, fucked up scene. It's really, really well done, and there are still elements I like in the second half. But it just before the film becomes wholly a metaphor, it's just way more interesting. And like I say, I might film again and just cut it off the second Noé Hernandez finishes and is helped to leave the room, because at that point I would it's a winner for me. But fortunately it does continue, and it does decline a little because I lose interest in everything that's going on. It's a shame, but generally I'm very glad that I watched it for a second time, because I never would if Tyler hadn't picked it. I would have been resigned to films I'm never going to watch again, but I did, and I'll watch it again for 40 minutes, and then I'll probably switch it off. But yeah, I enjoyed this one, T.
Awesome.
I'll never watch this again. It's just not the way. It's I don't. I think I sort of land between Dave and Craig here. There are bits of this I like. I mean, I'll give a spoiler warning just in case, but I don't think I need to go into detail. I think the last moment or two of this film saved it for me. I thought that was a good little punchline, and yeah, it made me it reframed everything else. Now it's quite an easy thing to do when you think of how everything's constructed, but it still reframed everything else in a way that made me think about it more, thinking about the choices, the taboos being broken, the freedoms that they allow themselves while they're kind of trapped. So I did, I did like that. I didn't hate this, but again, and I feel like I say this quite a lot with some of your choices, Tyler. I'm sorry, but it was almost, it's that thing where there's that much content that either feels like it's wanting to shock, or feels like it's wanting to be transgressive, or just feels like it's going to show you people having sex and just give in to their base instincts for pleasures of the flesh. When all these things start to happen in a sequence, it actually all becomes quite boring, because it's just that effect of like white noise. And we've discussed this with different kinds of films. I think I discussed it with at least one of the Terrifier movies, where if everything's just at a level, if there's no escalation, then it's just at a level of extremity, then nothing seems as extreme once it's settled, because you're there sort of at a flat line. And that's where I had a problem with this. It goes to its darkness quite early on, and is just there. Like you're just there in it, like a bath of tepid water. That's it. You can't move to adjust the taps, and you're thinking, well, I've sat in it now. I've just got to make the most of this, and you're actually quite bored, rather than just enjoying a nice hot bath. But as I say, I did like that last moment, which I know others could view as just a sort of an easy out, if you like, an excuse for everything else to have a justification. But I think it is an interesting enough idea that it does help it. So again, this isn't one I hated, but I am in agreement with the Craig of the past who wouldn't want to watch this again. There's nothing else for me to think, oh yeah, I really, I really want to see those visuals again, or the world that it created on screen, or pick apart the character interactions. There's nothing there that felt to me like I would really be rewarded by a repeat viewing. But I have now watched it, so I appreciate being nudged to watch it, Tyler, because I did think I'd seen it, and that was, as we discussed our week, I was actually thinking of We Are What We Are.
Hey, before you go, I do want to say one thing.
Okay.
Like Craig, I will watch this again, but not because I want to, but because I'll have forgotten I saw it in the first place.
Uh, this is the weird, depressing, sexually explicit, pretentious art house cinema that I fucking love, and I could watch for every single day for the rest of my life and be perfectly happy with doing so. I revel in this kind of shit, and I love We Are the Flesh. This is a visual fucking feast. Pun kind of intended there. It's beautifully shot, and I love the way this movie looks. I love how that gross, empty building just slowly starts to look like a cave as the film goes along, and the lighting starts to have this like harsh purple and oranges. I love the way this movie looks. It's ugly as fuck, yet it's fucking gorgeous in the most fucked up sexual fever dream nightmarish Gaspar Noé visual style. I mean, this felt like such a love letter to Gaspar Noé and Jodorowsky. It tackles stuff like rebirth and corruption and self-destruction. I honestly think you could probably analyze this film for a while and still not hit all the themes this filmmaker was aiming for. Or maybe I'm just trying to justify my love for seeing vagina and flaccid cock on screen. Who knows? Don't try to psychoanalyze me and my taste in cinema. It's gonna get you nowhere. It's gonna get you absolutely nowhere, so don't try. Um, No Hernandez reminded me so much of a Spanish Willem Dafoe, and I loved his just unhinged fucking performance. He's so good in this. He was also in Knife Plus Heart, which we covered on here, and he's in Sin Nombre, which is also like really excellent, really good. He's a really good actor, and I
He's one of
loved
those
his.
actors where, after seeing this, I try to imagine him like in an acting class pretending to be a tree. I can't imagine him being anything else but this. Who he was in this. It's so. Yeah. I just
Yeah,
can't imagine that he's an actor. He's too terrifying. A human
have you
being.
have you seen Sin Nombre?
I haven't. I've seen Knife Plus Heart. I've not seen Nombre.
Okay, he's pretty. I mean, yeah, he's more subdued in that than he is in this. He doesn't have a huge part in that, but yeah, he's really good in that as well. But yeah, he's a great actor. I thought the brother and sister were also really good in this. They don't have much dialogue. I was gonna make a joke about how it's hard to talk when you have your brother's dick in your mouth, but I'm a classy motherfucker, so I won't do that. But I think they perfectly convey those emotional performances without having to say much throughout. They're both really good. But yeah, I understand why someone wouldn't like this, and I wouldn't fault them for hating it. I mean, not many people are going to like this, and that's cool. But I think it's fantastic. It's a movie that's like totally tailor made for me, my weird ass taste. So I am a big fan of We Are the Flesh. Is that me going to Magic?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it is.
So let's see. Magic. What year was that? 70, 78, 77, something like that?
78.
78. It's about a ventriloquist is at the mercy of his vicious dummy while he tries to renew a romance with his high school sweetheart. So, this is my second time seeing Magic. When I saw Magic as a kid, I didn't like it at all. Like, because I thought I was getting a killer dummy movie along the lines of Child's Play, which this is not that at all. This is more of like a character piece riff on Psycho with a ventriloquist dummy. But now seeing it as an adult, I'm so happy it's not a Child's Play like movie because it's a really good psychological horror film with a great performance from Anthony Hopkins. He is so fucking good in this. Sweaty as fuck too. I mean, there's so much sweat just dripping out of those sweaty ass pores. He's so good in this. His dual performance as Corky and his dummy is just truly something special. Dude is fucking talent. I love Anthony Hopkins. Always great. And just from the jump, this guy is just fucking off. Yet there's still something sympathetic about him. He has a sympathetic layer to his character, which I loved. I had no idea this was directed by Hammond from Jurassic Park. Not gonna lie, that kind of blew my fucking mind a little. Like, I know he made Gandhi and some like other like sleepy British dramas, but I totally forgot he made this movie, and just kind of blew my mind a little bit. The score is really good. It looks great visually. It's pretty bleak, and it does have a little humor sprinkled throughout as well. It's got a good slow burn pace. I'm happy I actually sat down to rewatch this one because all I can remember is I just didn't like it, but I really did like it a lot. It didn't work for me as a kid in the 90s, but man, it's a total fucking banger now. Really good stuff.
I am a fan. I haven't seen it in a while, but this used to run every year on AMC on their Fear Fest So you could watch it like once a day or 3 times a day if you timed it right. The cast is fantastic. Anthony Hopkins gives a hell of a performance as both Corky and Fat, and Margaret is really good as Peggy and Snow, and Burgess Meredith is and Ed Lauder are both always solid additions to any cast. It's well made. The scene where Ben and Corky have their confrontation, I think it's an incredible scene. Both of them, one is just playing it weary, and the other one at wit's end. It's fantastic. It's two great performances from two incredible performers. This is actually based on a book by William Goldman, who also wrote the screenplay. We know William Goldman because we covered his movie Marathon Man, also based on his book. How long ago? No, seriously, that was like a legit question.
Wasn't it like a couple months ago? A few months ago?
2 months ago? Something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. It's been recently. Yeah, it's really good, and it's always nice to see Ed Lauder pop up and stuff. He was always a solid presence in, well, pretty much anything, because the guy's popped up in everything from the X-Files to the Waltons, the 70s King Kong, and Death Wish, I think 3. You know, guy was just all over the place in his career. Always a good presence. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I have a hard time calling it a horror movie outright. For me, it's a bit more of a mystery thriller, but you know, others do. So I'm not gonna split hairs. It does have a Jerry Goldsmith soundtrack, which is pretty solid. Yeah, it's worth looking up. It's just one of those ones where I don't know. I'm not sure like what else it came out against, but it's a good one, but it's not like a favorite still. And Margaret does a lot of heavy lifting, but all the cast does a lot of heavy lifting because it's basically 4 people and the guy that played the cabbie who was there. There's supposed to be a remake coming, done by it's being produced by Sam Raimi, and Sam Raimi might be the last guy that should do a remake of Magic, but here we are.
First time watch? Yeah, I really liked this one. This was great. I like this enough that I'm not going to do like the tired, you know, we have Psycho at home gag. And, you know, this is hugely indebted to Psycho. Like the mood, the themes, the score, the production design. A lot of it is set at a hotel where bodies are like dumped in a body of water behind the hotel. It owes a fuck of a lot to Psycho, but it does enough so well on its own that, you know, I forgot about it pretty quickly. Every now and then I'd be like, oh, that's very Psycho, especially like the production design, the outfits, the sets. It very, like I say, hugely invested, but I really liked it on its own terms. I think Anthony Hopkins is fucking amazing in this. Over the years, I've seen too much of his post Silence of the Lambs, like Sleepwalking, that I kind of forgot about how great he is pre Silence of the Lambs. He is absolutely wonderful in this. There are 2 scenes in this that absolutely blew me away. The first is the one where he has to stay silent for 5 minutes, which is an absolutely brilliant scene. And the second is the one where he is convinced to kill Anne Margaret's character. Not that I'm saying that he does. You know, you'd have to watch the film to find out. But it just he's so. There's so much heart in that performance that he's so. It's such an intense performance, and I like the rest of the cast. I really like Emma. Always love Ed Law. Love Meredith Burgess or Burgess Meredith. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I really like them all. Anthony Hopkins is just next level. He's so phenomenal, and I think this film's a really good lesson in how how the first scene in a movie can set up so much, because instant empathy from that first scene, watching this sad little fulfill somebody else's dreams for them whilst being just so alone, broken, you instantly fall for him, and you feel for him. And my heart fucking ached throughout this film. There's a part, the first murder that takes place in this, I should be feeling something for the murder victim, but every single blow that hits just feels like another nail in the coffin for Hopkins' character. He's just more and more doomed as time goes on, and it really got to me. I just absolutely fucking loved him in this movie. I think it looks great. It sounds great. It's got a lot of heart. It's got it really got under my skin. The only bit I don't really care for is like Burgess Meredith at the beginning when he's smoking his cigar and he's like, wait till you get a load of this. His act is terrible. I can never buy in. His act is the next big thing, and I think the script would be a lot smarter if it made Burgess Meredith's character kind of out of touch rather than someone who's found the next big thing, because that character's never going to be the next big thing. He's fucking awful. His act is actually, the ventriloquism act is solid in the context of the film, but not in the context of the performance, if you know what I mean. And it kind of bugs me that he's a big thing, because it would never happen. But generally, I was really impressed with this one. I mean, I never realised how ill prepared I was for an Anthony Hopkins making. I did not need to see that. They could have done like a kind of Charlie Chaplin thing and just had like a title card coming up saying "Baby," and I would prefer that to watching Anthony Hopkins lay his lady down. Cause distressing, but it's funny and macabre, and it's just heartbreaking at points. And that dummy is brilliantly designed. It's absolute nightmare fuel. And the fact that Hopkins actually learnt ventriloquism and did such fucking bang up job of it as well. It's fucking Anthony Hopkins is so fucking good, man. When he's on, he is fucking unbeatable, and he is on with this one. I'm gonna be grabbing myself a copy of this soon, because it might become a little like Halloween perennial kind of viewing, because it's a special little movie. I'm glad I got this one, Kevin. Cheers. Not just the sex scene. I'm not forgiving you for, but otherwise, really glad I watched this one.
I know how comprehensive you meant that cheers to be. Magic had been on my to watch list for many years, and it wasn't going to surprise me. What I will say while I remember is there's a book called England Screaming by Sean Hogan, and he's done a couple of different books in this vein, and every chapter generally takes a famous horror movie character or set of characters and weaves this little fictional short story around them. There are some connections dotted through the book, and one chapter makes great use of the puppet here, but as a future representation of the puppet from Dead of Night, because obviously it kind of goes back to that tale, and maybe even further back. I'm not sure. I remember hearing Dead of Night being the first kind of certainly the big well-known version of this story in film. So I really recommend England Screaming and Sean Hogan's writing when he uses horror movie characters. But getting to Magic, I really had a good time with this. I had forgotten that Richard Attenborough directed this, I don't think he necessarily presents anything that, you know, gives any of his personality to it. I don't think as a director he would usually do that anyway. I agree with Craig that it's heavily indebted to Psycho, which did come to mind when Hopkins was dealing with a car at one point, just after trying to get a body into some water. Goldman's screenplay is good, but yeah, it feels like it's surprisingly like actor centric, whereas I mean Goldman has written great screenplays for actors. We know this. We've discussed at least one or two of them on the podcast. I think we're probably fans of other stuff that he's written, but he's also, when I think of William Goldman's screenplays, I think of great lines or great movie moments. Even Marathon Man, if people haven't seen it, they generally know that is it safe? Is it safe? You know, you've got he did Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, didn't he? You've got like almost every other line from The Princess Bride. You've got these things that are a real grab bag of great movie lines and movie moments. Whereas Magic feels like I've got a great idea here, but I'm going to keep this all safe with a fucking brilliant cast, all doing great work. And I'll say, before I forget this as well, that I really like Burgess Meredith in this, like all the way through. I think he's superb. I always tend to like Burgess Meredith, but he often has given performances that are a little bit sometimes bigger than the rest of the film in certain ways. I think he's great here. I think his character feels right for what he's doing. But Hopkins is superb. I know he took some lessons, maybe in magic and a bit of ventriloquism. And the opening sequence here just had me hooked straight away. You're watching an act that he's doing on stage. You're not hearing that, although you see how things are panning out, and you're hearing Hopkins giving his interpretation, his lie, to someone that is his mentor, and that was great. I really liked that, so I was hooked from the beginning. Then we get to the stuff with the dummy and the real sort of hook of the film. I just think Hopkins, remains absolutely convincing and brilliant throughout. And I might be being naive, but I did feel that there were enough scenes that certainly convinced me that he was doing some of the work. I did dig around on this, and I can't recall if he actually did much of the ventriloquism through the film, or if he practiced just so he would look more believable when lines were probably ADR'd or dubbed in. I'm relying on
it
Dave.
would only make sense to ADR them in, but I think he learned how to do it anyway, so it'd be more convincing.
Yeah, like it definitely really sells it. He's this will sound stupid, but he's more convincing than some like real ventriloquists I've watched. And I don't mean that to say, oh, he just stood there and didn't have to move his lips, because obviously ADR would do the work. I mean, because of the movement you see, but the control that he has, and just how he interacts with the dummy as well is brilliant. But it's it's such a valuable thing that Anne Margaret is as good as she is in her role as well. And yeah, I mean she's so good, and I don't think I watched Anne Margaret in many films. Like she was I think she might have been the drunken mum in that bad remake of Taxi. And I saw her and enjoyed her role in Carnal Knowledge a month or two ago. But I've not seen loads of her work. And I wouldn't think of Anne Margaret and think I will watch her stuff because I want to see a great performance. I think of Anne Margaret as being sold on her style and looks, rightly or wrongly. I've had that image of her, but she's so good here that I did then think, well, have I just been an idiot for a long time? And are there many more Anne Margaret performances I should rush to check out? So if there are, I hopefully will. Because this could have easily been, a sidelined woman who is, she's helped by the writing, but it could have been somebody who was just too mopey or too weak or whatever. And there's even greatness in the final moments of the film, and that is, in no small part thanks to Anne Margaret, which is great. I like Ed Lauter in his role. It's I think it's a bit of a lesser role. He's I don't know what I would call him. He's the guy who has wandered in from the third act of a Coen Brothers movie, I think would be the best way to describe him for how you feel his character will fare. Let's just put it that way. But this was, yeah, I mean, it was really good, and I'm happy that I finally marked off a list. It's been a long, long time. But I just kept not making room for this, so I'm glad that he's generally enjoyed it.
I'm going to say I'm a little disappointed. We all talked about Magic and didn't mention the other movie Burgess Meredith and Anne Margaret starred in together, but that's fine. It's time to pick one.
No, well, you need to tell us the movie now.
Grumpy Old Men.
Oh, I've
1993. Yeah.
Movies.
Burgess Meredith, very, very old. Burgess Meredith plays Jack Lemmon's father. A very, very old Jack Lemmon's father. It also takes place on a snowy lake. There's a lot of... I wonder if Walter Matthau was originally supposed to be the Anthony Hopkins character. Anyway, I digress. It's time to pick one. And for me, I like Magic. If that did not come across, I do like Magic. But I do feel it's a missed opportunity. And I respect We Are the Flesh, but for me, it's The Blackening.
I liked all three this week. Really good week to come back for. But yeah, it's going to be Magic for me.
Despite the fact that I worry Craig didn't yet listen to last week's episode and hear how much I gushed over A New Leaf, by the way, Craig.
I haven't even watched A New Leaf yet. I was just mopping up diarrhea for like an entire week. I was on constant diarrhea.
You could have done that while
alert
played in the background.
I think that would have spoiled the viewing. Let's be honest. I don't want to make this mental connection between my movies and piles of wet shit.
You need to watch A New Leaf ASAP, and I really gushed on that last week, so I appreciate getting to see that. But I will also agree with Craig this week because I go for Magic.
I am going to coin flip it, and I'm going to piggyback off Dave here and go with The Blackening.
Wow.
That's because our UK contingent is, I'm not going to say they're racist, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I am. I'm sorry.
I just don't like the Wayans brothers as much as Dave. Okay?
Dude! Bad Craig.
Basically, Dickie gave Anthony Hopkins that dummy and went, "We've spared no expense." And that was the joy of Magic.
That fucking dummy, man.
I kept thinking throughout, I'd love to watch David Attenborough do a documentary on Richard Attenborough making that film, getting on his nerves, just following him around and saying, there's Richard now. In the final scene. He should do more of that. Well, he can't anymore because Dickie's dead. But
he's dead. Yeah. So next week, it's still October, which means there's so much more horror to watch. Craig, what do you got for us?
I had so many horror pick this month, and it's my own fault. Well, it's not my. I did give my goddamn dog diarrhea, but I have missed 2 weeks, and now I've got to pick one of my choices I had for. So I only get one pick before the special, right? Special week after next. Slasher films. Yeah, I'm sure it is. So I got to pick one.
Yeah, you get one.
I'm gonna try and pick a winner. I'm gonna try and win next week for my return. So just to go, I'm gonna go for Grab T by his balls with the 1973 Los Angeles porn industry serial killer flick, Hollywood 9008, aka the Hollywood Hillside Strangler.
Nice.
Well, I'm not going to compete with that, and I'm not going to try. I have picked a film that will allow me to once again indulge in some nostalgic wandering as I reminisce about when I first saw what I thought were all Hammer horrors on late weekend nights. We are going with 1973's The Creeping Flesh, which isn't a Hammer horror, but I didn't know that when I was young enough and thought all these horror movies were Hammer horrors.
I am going with a classic from 1995. We're watching some more urban horror. I'm going with Tales from the Hood.
I am going to make myself happy by going to one of my favorite film horror franchises of all time from Japan. We're going to watch the first full length in this well-regarded series. We're going to watch Ju-on the Curse from 2000.
We're on Instagram, Raiders_of_the_podcast. We're on Facebook, where I sometimes remember to post stuff on Wednesdays. We have a YouTube channel where you can subscribe, and comment and watch Kevin's totally awesome videos. We have a Discord, we have a Blue Sky, and you can always email us at raidersofthepodcast@gmail.com.
Ooh.
As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me, guys. I will talk to you next week.
Yes, lovely to be back, guys. I'll see you all next week.
So you